Host, Attorney Jerome Pay. Live TV talk on your digital device, on Roku, Fire TV, and Apple TV. Download the SVP TV app right now. Check us out every Tuesday on Comcast Cable, Channel 17, 8:30 p.m. And we are live every Friday on Facebook Live, 6 o'clock in the evening. You've got a question? Our attorneys have the answer. So let's talk law with Attorney Daryl O'Neill on the SVP TV network.
Welcome to Talking Law with Daryl O'Neill. I'm your host. I got my main man Jerome.
What's up, Daryl?
Man, another day in the neighborhood.
Yes, sir.
Hey, we got a question that has a number of different areas that it kind of goes into. So we want to have some fun with this question.
Got a law school exam.
Got a law school exam. So we're going to talk about that. And then we want to get into, today we want to talk about some probate matters.
Okay.
So that's kind of going to be our kind of topic. So we're going to talk about our question because, again, we will answer questions on any topic at any time. And then we're going to delve into probate matters.
That's right.
So let's give our shout outs, Jerome. I got to, always go to the far west coast and say, shout out to California.
Yes.
Yeah, travel back, east a little bit and say shout out to Little Rock, Arkansas. Shout out to West Memphis, Arkansas.
Right.
Shout out to Memphis, Shelby County, Tennessee. Shout out to Mississippi. And Mom, as always, shout out to the great state of Missouri.
All right.
All right now.
Yeah, yes.
So if you have Fire Stick, Apple TV, Roku, the SVP TV network app, Facebook Live, YouTube Live, you can call in and ask questions on any topic.
And there's really no excuse out of all of those things give you access to lawyers with years of experience.
Yeah.
I'm in my 30th year.
Man,
and when
I'm
22. Oh my God,
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
Where you gonna get it at like that?
That's 52 years yeah.
of experience.
Yeah,
man.
you can't get no better than that.
You cannot.
So, wow, man, I remember when I was trying to get to 5 years.
I
And
know
now
that's
I'm looking
right.
around, I got 20 plus years.
Man,
Good gracious.
And still going.
Still going.
Yes,
Still-
sir.
So let's talk about Jerome. Today's question is an interesting question. And this question is a common event. And you have what they call the sovereign citizens. Yeah, have you heard of them? So you got the sovereign citizens.
Have I heard of them?
And and I'm not going to put them in the same category, but you got the sovereign citizens.
Right.
But you also have opportunists.
Okay.
And it's the opportunists that you got to be more concerned of than the sovereign citizens. Because at least the sovereign citizens are normally doing what they're supposed to do. They just decided that they're not bound by any of the laws and rules and regulations of any state or any federal government.
Well, and I mean, like you say, they do have some principles.
Yeah.
They're just somewhat misguided
Yeah.
as far as the law.
Yeah.
So because they have
as far as
seats of the law. Well, the law governs.
No, that's your law.
Right.
That's not my law.
Okay.
Because again, it's kind of like, I don't want to sound weird, but it's kind of like, we have a religious question,
Right.
and you start telling me about sex,
True,
and I'm
true,
like, well,
true.
that's not what my religion believes.
I got you.
So it's the same thing.
I agree with you.
The law, that's your law, that ain't their law.
Right. Gotcha.
But those people are different than the opportunists.
Right.
The opportunists are the squatters. For instance, you have a person that they know that all of a sudden this house was vacant, and they snuck in a back door, a window, or whatever, and then they opened up shop and they started living there.
Yeah, that's almost like a burglary, isn't it? I mean, when you enter into a habitation without permission, that may be even a charge of burglary.
Yeah, it would be burglary if you can get the police department to do what they're supposed to do.
Oh, okay.
I mean, because everything they want to do is anytime it's not advantageous to the police department, they tell you it's a civil matter.
Right.
When,
True.
but when it's advantageous to them or one of their friends or family members, then it's a criminal matter.
True.
I mean, that's I used to have this joke and conversation with a friend of mine who was a police officer, and he used to say, I hate lawyers because y'all always making law and changing law. I said, lawyers don't make law. Lawyers don't even change law.
That's right.
Police officers make and change the law. It says you can't speed. You see them speeding all the time with no lights and no sirens on.
Right.
It says you can't run a stop sign. You see them running stop signs with no lights and sirens on. Yet and still, another police officer won't give them a ticket.
Right.
So they have rewritten the law. You just said to me that if you walk into my property without permission,
Right.
and you open up residence, you have burglary. That's burglary.
That's a burglary. That's
But the police will tell you that's a civil matter.
that's the definition.
That's a
of it.
definition of burglary.
Right.
But they will tell you it's a civil matter.
Right.
You know, so, you know, it's lawyers can't be making the laws when it's the police officers that are forcing the law.
I got you.
But let's, I don't want to digress too far from this.
Okay.
So the lady or the person in this particular matter says that somebody is trespassing on their property.
Okay.
Again, whether it's burglary or trespassing, it's a criminal offense.
That's true.
Okay.
Yes.
They're trespassing on a property that somebody recently closed.
Right.
Well, that little period in time between the seller and the buyer where nobody is in the property, this opportunist
Yeah.
got into the property.
Right.
Now, if the police don't do what they're supposed to do, arrest this person because they don't have a lease, they don't have permission, they're trespassers, they are burglars, you know, if they don't do what they're supposed to do, now you got to take it through the civil system.
That's right.
And unfortunately, you got to go to the FD, you got to file what they call a forcible entry detainer warrant.
Well, there are, you know, as inconvenient, as costly as it is, it's always best to do it the way that we're about to describe.
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
So, because you could wind up with an issue where a person could have a counterclaim.
Yeah.
If you're not careful how you do it.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that people think that, well, they're not supposed to be there, so I can change the locks, or I could put their stuff on the street.
No self-help remedies, period.
Tennessee doesn't have that.
Right.
As a matter of fact, Shelby County specifically doesn't have that.
Right.
Because Shelby County falls on what they call IRLTA, the Uniform Residential Landlord Tenant Act.
That's right.
Which gives landlords and tenants certain rights.
That's right.
Squatters, if the police are not going to do their job, squatters are now tenants.
Right.
Tenants without a lease, but they're tenants.
That's right.
And the law says if there's a person in that property, you got to put them out.
That's right.
So legally, which is you got to go to court.
That's right.
And if you don't do it legally, you can end up with punitive damages. You can end up with the damages for throwing their property
That's
away.
right.
I mean, you can end up with all kinds of damages for an opportunist.
That's exactly right.
You know, so you have to go file a forcible entry detainer warrant.
Well, it's called an unlawful ouster.
If you don't do those
If you don't do those things,
Yeah.
it's exactly right. And an opportunist knows that you should do it a certain way, and when you don't, you open yourself up.
Right. Because what they're going to do, and here's what they'll normally do is, now I'm not going to say what they're going to do, because I don't want to give people that don't know the right thing what they could possibly say to get
That's
around
right.
it. So I'm not going to even have that
That's right.
conversation. But then, eviction. The caller asked, you know, an eviction can take up to 30 days. Actually, it can take up longer than that.
That's for sure.
So let's talk about the landmines to this eviction thing, Jerome.
All right. So there we've already talked about that this person is an opportunist. Now, because they know that if I entered into this property, I got at least 30 days outside of the weather. I mean, I won't be in the elements. The elements won't come in because it takes approximately that long in order to get someone out of a property. So,
But I think, Jerome, I think it takes longer.
you think so?
Well, so let's walk through the steps.
Okay.
So you file the detainer warrant.
I just thought of a question. Go ahead. I'm going to find.
So you file the detainer warrant.
Okay.
You have to serve it,
Okay.
and you have to wait 14 days before you can get a court setting.
Now, I was just thinking, service. How do you serve a homeless person?
Well, you serve them at the tenant. So there's a couple. I'm glad you said that.
Yeah.
You serve them at the house.
But suppose they don't answer the door for the process.
Then you
server.
post it.
I'm wondering, would posting work
It will work.
for that?
It works to get you out, but you can't get money damage.
Right. Okay.
So, but a squatter and an opportunist, they're going to show up in court because they're ignorant like that.
because they see
That you
the
trying
summons on the door.
It's trying to put them out.
Okay.
And the rule on that is if you go down there and get that executed, right?
If you show up,
If you show up, they're going to serve.
they're going to serve you in court.
And they're going to say, we show you president,
Right.
and then you've been served.
Right.
If you don't show up, then there's an eviction judgment immediately. And then in 10 days, they can put you out.
Well, because we're not looking for money, so it won't be cost and possession. It would be possession only.
Possession only.
Which means that now the property now has been reverted back to the
True
legal owner of
Yeah.
the property. Yeah.
And that's the thing.
Yeah.
If you don't show up in court, right, then you can't get your continuance
That's
or
right.
your extension of
That's
time.
That's exactly right.
If you don't show up in court, then what ends up happening is if a judgment is entered, you're not going to know.
And there are also, too, I just thought of something else. You have to name the individual
No.
that you are serving.
No. You can say owner
Or occupant.
Unknown occupant.
Yeah, unknown occupant.
Yeah,
okay.
you don't have to say. You can if you knew who the previous owner is, you can say that owner's name, and then you can say in all other occupants. And that's sufficient.
I think so. I think you're
And
absolutely right.
that's sufficient. And then if you show up in court,
Right. Then we'll get a name.
we'll get a name, and then now you got problems.
Right.
So now you show up in court, but if you don't show up in court, in 10 days, they can get a writ of execution. So now that's pretty fast. If they don't show up in court,
That's true.
which is 14 days from when you served them, they don't show up in court, it's 10 days from that, that's 24 days. You get a writ of execution, you can have them out in 25 days.
Yeah, because they missed the opportunity to ask for a continuance, because in our general sessions court, either side can ask for a continuance for any reason,
Right.
and the judge is going to grant
Right.
it. Yeah.
So you will be out of there
Right.
in 25 days.
Right.
But if you show up in court, you can ask for a continuance,
Right.
and you can get up to 14 days.
That's exactly
Yeah,
right.
you get up to 14
Right.
days. So now it's 24 days.
But the judge is not going to give you 14 days.
No, they're normally gonna give you
probably
10.
seven days.
They normally do 10.
Okay.
So you get to 10 days.
Right.
So that's 24 days.
Right.
Then you show up to court for the trial date, and they get a judgment against you, because that's what they need to do.
Right.
And we'll talk about that in a minute. They get a judgment against you, then they got 10 days for you to appeal, and if you don't appeal within 10 days, they can get a writ of execution. So in 35 days, if everything goes the way it planned, you'll be out of there.
So I'm the occupant. So how do they know that it's me that shows up? Suppose there are others on the property. But you said all occupants.
all occupants.
Whomever is on this
Whoever's
property
on
that
it.
has no right to be there, that's you.
Show up and be heard.
Okay.
So then now here's the thing, Drum. If they show up,
Okay.
they want a continuance.
Your Honor, that's where I live. That's my home.
What's your name?
Okay. All right. John Jones.
Put your name on there, John Jones.
But that's not really your name.
I could care less.
Well, no, you got to raise your right hand.
There you go. You gotta swear to it. Yeah, you gotta
swear that
yeah.
that's your name. Yeah.
So
okay.
if that's not your name,
Right.
and you swear that it is your name,
Right.
man, you have created
You
all.
showed up,
Yeah.
You showed up, got some issues then.
But let's talk about if I get a judgment against you, Jerome.
Okay.
What's the difference between getting a judgment for money and not money?
Well, and that's one of the things that the unsophisticated property owner, I'm not going to call him a landlord,
Right.
Is that sometimes property owners get so frustrated about what's going on because it's going to be dragging out, and the person has not paid, don't intend to pay. The landlord or the property owner might tell the judge, "I don't want any money at all. I just want them out."
Right.
The judge is going to tell the person, said, "Look, you're getting a gift. You ain't got to pay no money, and all he wants is the property back." And the judge will grant that. But the fatalities involved in that is that you can appeal a judgment by not even posting a bond, just going across the hallway and file an appeal and not have to put up a dime because...
And stay there for almost a year.
Right. If there is no money judgment, then that landlord or the property owner is in trouble.
They're in trouble.
But always ask for some money, even if you don't never get it, and you're probably never going to get it.
Yeah.
Ask for some money, because a money judgment in general sessions requires that the person put up 1 year's
Right, the bond, yeah.
worth of rent as a bond in order to stay in the property.
Right.
So make sure you don't get caught in that trap.
Now, this caller with their question here has a real nightmare, because the caller says the temporary occupancy agreement has expired.
So they knew the person was there,
They knew the person was there.
and they agreed.
They
to let
had
the
an
person-
agreement with there. And see, when you have a temporary occupancy agreement, then that changes the entire game.
It sure does.
Because what ends up happening is that person becomes a holdover tenant, which means you got to give them 30-day notice.
Yes, and the interesting thing about it is that they have become actually the person who has the right
to be there.
be in the
Right.
property,
Yeah.
because what you did is you relinquished.
You gave it to them.
Yeah, you relinquished by the temporary agreement.
Yeah, if you give them a temporary agreement, you are authorized. They're not, in the caller says trespasser. If you give them a temporary agreement, they are not
They're
trespassers.
not trespassers.
They're now considered what they call holdover tenants.
That's right.
Because you gave them a temporary agreement, so
Right.
now they're a holdover tenant. And here's the sad thing about a holdover tenant: their lease goes 30 days.
Right. But and also too, just to educate anyone who is thinking of doing a temporary, what they call their
Don't.
what they call their temporary what they call it?
I'm gonna call it a temporary hanging.
It's not a good idea. But
Yeah.
but if you do, and we do that sometimes.
We do.
We're trying to help somebody out.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
You know, a person.
Yeah.
Look, and we encourage that.
Yeah, I mean,
We encourage that. A person needs a place to stay, and you temporarily allow them to stay in your place. But also have some kind of default clause that says should you not move out, then just like with the holdover tenant, the rent is usually almost double.
right.
But in this particular case, there is no penalty for staying over.
Yeah. Again,
You make it unbearable
You
for
make
the
it-
mistake.
yeah, and see, well, you can't make it too unbearable because you can't cut off the utilities, can't cut off the heat, can't cut off the
No, for
water.
them to pay. It never said that they didn't pay,
Right.
or whatever it is that was required. They just said that they violated the temporary. In
Right.
other words, it was supposed to be for 90 days, but they want to keep on staying.
No, they not wanna. They are. They have kept on staying. But see, now the rule with these people, because they had a right to be there.
That's right.
You got to give them. You got the kiss of death. You got to give them a 30-day notice.
And it depends. And so there, I just thought of another thing. This is truly a law school exam. Because what? Who drafted this agreement?
Yeah.
The person who has the right to the property. So it's going to be construed against the drafter. So say, for instance, you don't cover all the bases in there, like the holdover, the defaulting clause. It could be that the person can find a way within the confines of the agreement that allows them to stay indefinitely.
Well, I don't know about indefinitely.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know about it. I don't know any rule would allow that.
Well, the fact is, if say for instance, I'm supposed to be paying, all right,
Yeah.
and I pay every single
No,
month.
but if you
I
if I
pay
if
every single month.
yeah, but if I got a
Why
temporary,
do you want me out?
because we have a temporary agreement, and again, if I didn't renew that agreement,
But you
I
didn't-
have to renew it.
But you didn't have a defaulting clause.
That's not the now we're gonna get into some disagreement on that.
Okay, what's the defaulting
I don't.
clause?
It's not required. Your contract ends on day X. We have to mutually remember. This is basic contract 101.
Okay.
Offer, acceptance, correct?
Okay.
I ain't offer it back to you.
Right.
You can't accept something I ain't offered.
But I'm still staying anyway.
I didn't renew. This is a new agreement.
Right.
This agreement ended. So the only way we can get a new agreement if we have a new agreement. That means you got to give me a new offer. So you say, hey, I want to continue to stay here. I don't want you here.
Okay. And what reason? Why?
I don't. You don't have to have a reason. There's no requirement for a reason. You know why I don't want you? I don't like you.
Now you tell the judge that you don't like me. Your Honor, I pay this man on the
My
first. I have till the
lease.
5th of the month to pay, but I pay on the first every single month ever since I've been there.
And
I
Your
cut
Honor,
the-
they
I cut
absolutely
the
do.
grass.
Yes, sir.
I keep the house.
Yes, he does. he does. Your Honor, he does all that. And matter of fact, when I come around our house, he got dinner for me. But guess what? My lease ended on the 30th of November.
Okay, I got you.
And I didn't offer him to renew that lease.
I got you. Okay.
Because I have sold the house.
Oh, now.
And I got a new person that's gonna, because that's what. Now let me just tell you.
Yeah. Okay.
Because
That's another part of it.
that's the next. Now the question goes.
Oh.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So now they bought the house.
Oh, I see.
And now the seller is still there.
Right.
Okay. So now the person that is buying the house, right, that had bought the house, now their mortgage is due.
Well, the seller's property was not ready as it was promised, so they need to stay until their property gets ready.
Well, here's the thing.
So how is it?
That's not my problem.
Well, how does it hurt? How does it hurt you? Why? I mean, why can't?
I need somewhere to live too, dog.
Why can't my client stay?
So where I'm gonna live? So I'm gonna be on the street so you can stay in the house.
But you shouldn't have closed.
You shouldn't have signed the closing. Because see, once we sign that agreement, you have agreed to get out.
I'm just playing the devil's advocate.
No, I know you are.
Right.
But you have agreed to get out.
Right.
And if you're the seller, if you're the seller and it's time and closing has happened, you sign the closing, everything transferred over, and you still there, I'm gonna sue you.
Right. Well, because you've already paid.
I'm gonna sue you for breach of
already.
Exactly. I'm gonna sue you for breach of contract.
Right.
And I'm gonna sue you for damages.
Right.
Because that's what this person has done.
I think you're exactly right.
And I would do an FED,
Right.
but I would basically sue these people for breach of contract.
Right. I think that's right.
And I would I would not only sue them, I would sue the title company. And I would sue my realtor. I mean, I'll sue everybody that's walking on two legs. Because here's the problem. So the seller agent either misinformed these people, right?
Wait, which one now?
The buyer. The buyer has a house that they can't get in.
They can't get in.
Yeah, and they got a warranty deed.
Okay.
They got a warranty. It's not they got a quick claim deed. If they got a quick claim deed, we may never have this conversation. Because I can only give you what I own.
So the title company is on the line.
The title company could be on the line. Okay. Because now you have title insurance to cover these types of defects.
That's right.
So I'm suing everybody that's walking. Right? And I'm definitely going to sue the homeowner because they've committed a fraud.
Right.
They signed a document that says, because they no longer have a mortgage obligation.
I agree.
Because I've paid it off in buying the house.
I agree. Yeah.
So now they've gotten my money and they decided I'm going to stay there. So I'm going to do my FED. But that ain't even close to where it's going to end.
I agree.
Man, when I do that FED,
I agree.
Man, it's going to be on like Donkey Kong.
I agree.
Because I'm going to sue for all my damages because now I had to hire a lawyer.
You know what I just thought about that?
That.
It's different. It's not a renter. Remember, renters are the ones controlled by Ultra.
But I think this will fall.
So you don't have to put up a year's worth of rent in order to appeal that.
Well, I wouldn't sue this, and now this I would do the FED.
Be careful because if you go to general sessions with this, you got a problem because homeowners are not bound by the Landlord-Tenant Act.
Well, I would file the FED simply because I need them out.
Okay.
But I would sue them in circuit or chancery court on breach of contract.
But I really don't think it would work.
You had no choice.
And
no.
For a person there?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's just for rent.
No. This is when they foreclose on a house.
I know when they foreclose
it's the same thing.
And they go get possession.
Exactly.
But this is contested.
It's just still a foreclosure. It's no different.
No.
It's a transfer of title.
Okay.
And it's not a clean transfer because you won't get out.
Okay.
So I got to get you out. It's my house now.
I understand, but I'm still thinking that there's a problem that's
allowed?
It's not related to
you can't be there.
A bond. It's not related because
I think so.
A year's worth of rent.
I think you still do. I think you could. I would get a money judgment for my mortgage payment.
Okay.
For whatever that mortgage payment is, and I would get it for 1 year, because that's what I'm going to be out because you're still there. I got to pay a rent every month, even though I can't live there.
I got you. Okay.
Not only I got to pay rent there, I got to pay rent somewhere else.
I got you.
And I got a loan. I bought this house. I mean,
I got you.
hey man, this right here get people back. This get people hurt.
Oh yeah.
Cause you be, man, I'm starting to sweat a little bit thinking about it, man. This get people hurt, man. Dog, I worked too hard for. I worked all this time for my money.
Right.
I done got a loan. I'm living a dream, and I can't even get in my house.
Right.
I can't get to my picket fence.
I'm thinking it's going to be more than 30 days there.
Oh, this is an absolute legal nightmare.
It is. It sure is.
And again, that's the reason why you sue everybody that's walking.
Right.
Because everybody that's walking has failed you.
Right.
If you're a buyer, okay, I put my faith in somebody to get me this property.
Right.
There was a catastrophic failure here. Catastrophic failure. And I think it's the seller's people's. So I'm suing seller. I'm suing seller's agent. I may even sue the damn closing attorney.
Right.
And there's a possibility, with all due respect, I may even sue my agent.
Yeah.
Everybody has, if I'm buying a house, I've paid, an agent can correct me if I'm wrong, I paid 3% of my money to somebody to make sure that I get in my house.
Yeah.
I also paid 3% to somebody else's agent.
Yeah.
So okay. Well, shucks, I gave away a down payment.
Yeah. So yeah, it's a problem. Yeah.
But the agent, my agent gets something for me buying that house.
Right.
As a matter of fact, it's 6%. The seller pays 3% to the buyer's agent, and 3% goes to the seller's agent.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody getting paid, but me, I'm living on the street.
No, you in a what they call it?
Well, I think there's an argument. My argument would be that the realtor possibly failed them.
I mean, but how? How did they fail? They had no idea that this person was going to back out of
but
the
you know,
contract.
and that may be true.
Right.
All of that may be true.
Right.
But see, when you're a lawyer, you sue everybody.
That's true.
Make them point the fingers
That's
at
true.
other people.
That's true.
And so you don't have anybody to get out,
Right.
and then you out on your own.
Right.
Because if you let one piece of the pie go, you could lose the entire lawsuit.
I think that's true.
So I make everybody point at everybody. And then when the person says, I didn't do this and I didn't do that, if you don't let me out, I'm going to file a motion to get out. Then I'll let you file a motion, read your motion if it's good enough, because it's got to sit for 30 days.
But you're still not going to let them out, though.
I may let you out. Because the rule is, if I'm going to let you out, because if I don't, I may end up paying your lawyer's attorney fee.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there's some nuances to it. So,
Oh, really?
Oh yeah. Hey, look, y'all, we went way left on this one.
But it was a lot of complicated issues
This is an extremely complicated issue,
Yeah.
and it's a sad issue.
Yeah.
But anyway, if you got any questions, any concerns, we'll be back next week. Ask whatever question. Thank you for watching the show.
Can you actually imagine hosting your next event at the all-new SVP Banquet in Event Center? Yes, spacious, beautiful venue with plenty of parking,